What's going on, everybody? It's Not Your Average Josh back here for another movie review, and today I'm reviewing the movie You Hurt My Feelings, a new movie starring Julia Louis-Dreyfus. But before I get into my movie review, I do want to say if you're watching this, hit that like button, and also leave a comment if you have any thoughts on this movie or anything else you want to put down there. Also, hit that subscribe button as well if this is your first time watching any of my videos, or if you're a returning viewer as well. Any support for this channel is very much appreciated. You can also follow me on TikTok and add me on Snapchat, where I will post content similar to this. But for the most part, my content will be here on this YouTube channel, Not Your Average Josh. So again, I appreciate all the support, but let's go ahead and get into this review of You Hurt My Feelings. You Hurt My Feelings was directed and written by Nicole Holofcener. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name there. And the events of this movie take place when a novelist's long-standing marriage is suddenly upended when she overhears her husband giving his honest reaction to her latest book. This was a movie that is also an A24 film. They've been pretty hot the last couple of years, and I did see this movie, a couple trailers in the movies I've seen the past couple of months, and the concept did interest me in a way. It seemed like a very small-scale type of movie, very dialogue-driven, and that's exactly what this movie was. This movie really being all about Julia Louis-Dreyfus and her husband, Don, played by Tobias Menzies. This point in their lives that they're at. They've been married for a while now. Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character, Beth, has been a writer for a while. She has had a book published before, memoir, and now she's trying to get a novel published, and she's having trouble with it. She's really kind of hitting a bump in the road in her career. And mirroring that, you have Don here, her husband, who is a therapist and who's kind of hitting a bump in the road in his career as well, not really connecting with his patients as much. There's several scenes throughout this movie that really showcase that, his different patients that just don't believe in him anymore. One patient even asking him to give all the money back over the past couple years that they've given him, which turned out to be a pretty high sum. The real key inciting incident in this movie is when Beth overhears her husband Don talking to his friend about how he doesn't like the book that Beth has been working on for a long time now. She's let Don read it plenty of times, and he has been lying to her, and that's really what this movie is kind of all about. I know it can seem very mundane on the surface, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that if they do give this movie a chance, they just probably can't stick with it. It is a very slow-moving movie, not very long, just a little over an hour and a half. But it definitely does take its time. There's not a lot that happens in this movie in terms of major memorable sequences. There's definitely a few moments in this movie, even certain scenes where I thought kind of felt inconsequential at the time and maybe unneeded, but with the runtime being what it is, there's nothing that I look at and I'm like, oh, they definitely should have cut that. And I think with the full story being told by the end of this movie, I do understand where they went with certain scenes where maybe at the time I was like, okay, this is kind of dragging a bit. And there are moments where I did have to, check myself from checking out. But for the most part, I was intrigued with this. Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Tobias Menzies, who's from Game of Thrones, who I saw him for the first time in. They both are really good. You definitely can feel the chemistry they have in this movie, the chemistry when they are having good times with each other. And then when they're going through this sort of rough patch in their marriage, if you will, when she finds out their husband's been lying to them the whole time. And really the main theme of this movie is all the white lies that we tell each other. And that's really, I think, the most engaged I was in this story and this movie as a whole, just thinking about my own life and the white lies that we tell our family and ourselves throughout the day. And I mean, if we're all honest, we all do it to a certain extent. And it definitely was very relatable, this story that was being told. And it's just very simple that there's just be these scenes that happen between Beth and Don and their son Elliot, where they're just having an honest conversation about how they've been lying to each other pretty much their whole lives. And Elliot feels like he had always been lied, saying that he was going to do good all the time and that he was the best. And he feels like that kind of stunted his growth as a person in a way. And they really have this conversation about the white lies we tell each other. And it really be these tangled webs that we weave that make things more complicated than they need to be. At the end of the day, one thing I just kept thinking was, man, there's so many simple situations in life that we, as everyday people, complicate just by certain things we do or don't do, trying to protect certain people's feelings. And I really did enjoy that concept that pretty much this whole movie was made up to be. And look, it's just a movie where you're going to either be really invested by that concept or you're going to kind of check out pretty early, I assume. For me, I was pretty engaged for the most part, but there were, like I said, a few moments where I checked out, but Overall, the acting was really good. I did buy in this family unit here of Dawn, Beth, and Elliot. Owen Teague playing Elliot here, their son. It was just a nice little movie, I will say. Nothing too earth-shattering, nothing too overly memorable here, but I could definitely see myself checking this out again. It's not too long, and I think on a rewatch, as I said, after the movie ended and seeing the whole story play out, I think those moments might be a little more enjoyable knowing where the story goes by the end of it. But again, this is very much a slow, dialogue-driven movie, so if you're into that, that's what it's going to be. They also do a really good job of showing how Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Beth, her character, how her mom and her sister, how they're affected by the mom in this movie, and the lies that she would tell them growing up, and just in everyday life. And again, just something that was very relatable throughout this movie, a constant theme coming up where, I mean, every day I'm probably, even without even thinking about telling white lies either to myself or to other people, again, just either protect people's feelings or to make your own self feel better. But that's my main thoughts. I'm going to give You Hurt My Feelings a 6.5 out of 10. Very fine movie here. I thought it was a good experience overall. Nothing I'm necessarily going to immediately rush out to see again once it comes out on whatever streaming or anything, but I had a good enough time with this movie. On a technical level, it was very well done, very well shot. It's just kind of your average dramedy here. But what are your guys' thoughts? Have you heard of this movie? Are you going to go see it? Do you care at all? Leave a comment down below. Also hit that like button if you did enjoy this video, and hit that subscribe button as well if this is your first time watching any of my videos, or if you're a returning viewer. Any support for this channel is very much appreciated. You can also follow me on TikTok and add me on Snapchat, where I will post content similar to this, but for the most part, my content will be here on this YouTube channel, Not Your Average Josh. So again, I appreciate all the support. I'll be looking for more videos very soon, and I'll talk to you guys later.